activity out straight ahead of us?
No, we're not seeing anything.
You are cleared to maneuver as necessary, left and right, to avoid the UFO out there.
UFO sightings in the Pacific Northwest tonight. The growing questions about what several airline pilots spotted recently. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. It was a strange sight in the skies over Oregon that left pilots struggling to make sense of what they were witnessing. Fox 12's Greg Nibbler has more tonight on the calls that were made to air traffic controllers.
Just had another one show up about my 1 o'clock, about 1,000 feet high, zipping towards us and then back out towards the ocean. It's red in color, moving at extreme speeds.
That was Life Flight pilot Joe Bully talking with air traffic control Saturday night as he was flying over Walden, Oregon. He was trying to figure out what he keeps seeing flying around his plane, and it turns out he wasn't the only one seeing this ball of light.
Is there any military activity out straight ahead of us?
No, we're not seeing anything. I had another one report at like 30,000 feet in the Eugene area. We're not sure what it is.
So it wasn't a military plane, but could it have been a drone?
The flight characteristics that the pilots were reporting in real time indicate that it was not a drone. They were seen to be traveling upwards of 60,000 feet, which is, there's no drone that we have that does that effectively. And
James Shubsky owns Margie's Outdoor Store, and he's been tracking UFO sightings in Oregon for years. And while this sighting still has a lot of people scratching their heads, Shubsky is encouraged that it's getting so much attention.
There's a great deal of stigma associated with reporting it. And I'm very encouraged to hear that the tower and the pilots are openly talking about them as UFOs.
Foxtrot, Roger. You are cleared to maneuver as necessary, left and right, to avoid the UFO out there.
And that was Fox 12's Greg Nibbler reporting tonight. Those pilots say they saw 3 or 4 different UFOs, all at different altitudes. Air traffic controllers tonight are continuing to investigate. We shift now to talk about our weather here in the West, and millions of people across the West Coast preparing for a stormy weekend ahead. Parts of Washington are under a winter weather advisory tonight. Snowplows out on the east end of that state. They've been out throughout the day. And along Oregon's coast, a coastal flood advisory is in effect. And in the San Francisco Bay Area, storms are expected to bring a whole lot of rain and strong wind gusts, strong enough that they have issued high wind warnings in that area. Snowfall has been on and off all throughout the day up in the Sierra. Here is a live look at the conditions tonight along Interstate 80 near Soda Springs. This is not far away from Lake Tahoe, and you can see some snowflakes coming down here in this particular shot as the traffic continues moving along the highway there. But conditions along that highway expected to shift as we move throughout the weekend and this storm moves through. Traffic managers are urging drivers to stay on top of all of the updates in terms of closures. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking this system moving across the west. Hey, Mark.
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, out in the Sierra, they could have possibly some freeway closures as we head into tonight, into tomorrow, possibly with all that snowfall coming down. So here is that next storm, that stronger storm developing in the Pacific. And as you can see here, typically we'll show you an area of low pressure and a front. We actually have a wave developing along that front that actually strengthen, at least intensify the rainfall and also the wind fields as well. This will also impact the Pacific Northwest. As you can see here, we have a high wind warning and a coastal flood warning as well. So we have a lot of energy with those winds increasing out of the south. And you heard about the Sierra with the winter storm warning out in portions of Washington here, the Cascades. A winter weather advisory is in place until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Here we go in the Bay Area. The winds do pick up. We have wind advisories and high wind warnings for the areas in red, and winds could be gusting in these areas upwards of 50 to 55 to 60 miles an hour. So take a look at the rainfall projections for the Bay Area. You can see those numbers really adding up, especially for the North Bay Hills, possibly over 4 inches. And this will be coming in tonight and into the first half of Saturday. So it's a short time window to pick up a lot of rainfall that could lead to some flooding issues. Here's the radar right now. As you can see in Northern California, you heard about the Sierra, and the radar is definitely picking up on that snowfall for tonight with that winter storm warning in place. And here's the radar coverage up in Oregon and up in Washington. Once again, the rain and also the shades of white indicate the snowfall coming down. This was a scene today in Seattle. You can see rainfall 0.21 with lots of cloud cover out there and temperatures in the mid-40s. In San Francisco, at least for the Bay Area, some off and on rain showers throughout the day, and temperature in San Francisco in the upper 50s. Right now, the rainfall for this portion of the state is up in Northern California, moving into portions of the North Bay. And in Phoenix, the other end of the weather spectrum, you can see lots of clear skies, no rainfall to track for this portion of the West Coast, and temperatures in the upper 60s from this afternoon. Here's the forecast model. Once again, you can see these brighter colors just blossoming on this map, and the bulk of this coming in tonight and into your Saturday. So here is that next storm, rain and wind for Seattle, also for San Francisco. If you want the sunshine, you can see that showing up, especially out toward Denver, and maybe just a few visiting clouds for Southern California, for Los Angeles, and in the Phoenix area. Here's the forecast model. It's definitely picking up on the rainfall and the snowfall tonight. This is 10 o'clock. This is early tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Saturday, as you can see the rain and the snowfall still a factor. And then that action begins to move out to the east throughout the day on Saturday. Sunday, not as much activity with the chance of some rain near the coastline, but definitely some clouds approaching the west coast, especially from Northern California up into Oregon and Washington. So take a look at the forecast over the next 3 days. Seattle gets that rain cloud for tomorrow. Same for San Francisco, especially for tomorrow morning. If you want to get away from the rain, we can show you that on this map as well. Out in Phoenix, temperature is actually pleasant in the 70s, and even the Denver area, those readings mainly in the 50s. So this is a pretty active weather pattern for parts of the West Coast, and be prepared for more rain and some more wind, especially up in Northern California and in the Pacific Northwest.
All right. Yeah, we will be ready. Mark, thank you. In Los Angeles, 5 people have been charged in the ambush-style killing of a doctor right outside of his clinic. Dr. Hamid Mershoghi was shot in Woodland Hills last August. Police say a masked man opened fire in what detectives describe as a well-planned murder for hire. The LAPD says one of the suspects in this case is the doctor's ex-wife. She and 3 others were charged with murder, and another woman is facing charges of being an accessory to the crime. Tonight, an investigation is underway after a California couple was shot to death while on vacation in Mexico. Investigators say gunmen opened fire on the couple's pickup truck last night about 130 miles southeast of Guadalajara. The Michoacan State Attorney General's office says a team of prosecutors, police, and forensic experts are now working to determine the motive for these killings and trying to identify those responsible. Authorities at this point have not said where the couple lived in California. Evacuees returned home near Southern California's Franklin fire today. Firefighters say they are making some good progress getting that fire under control, but as Fox 11's Mario Ramirez reports tonight, this firefight is far from over.
While most of the mandatory evacuation orders have been lifted, about a third are still in place today. You'll notice closures like this one here along PCH at Las Flores Canyon, where law enforcement have been screening residents, making sure they live here before being allowed back in. The Franklin fire started burning out of control late Monday night into Tuesday morning, with strong Santa Ana winds carrying embers and starting spot fires. Most residents' homes have been spared.
Only by God's miracle and by the hard work of firemen. Bravo, guys. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bravo. Thank you.
So far, it's scorched over 4,000 acres.
You're kind of in a state of shock where you don't even want to leave your house, you know, because it was so close to going down that you don't want to go very far.
It was super crazy, and seeing just the fire coming over the ridge.
There was a couple small structures, storage structures that were burnt. Other than that, I mean, we're happy to be here.
As fire crews have been able to start assessing the damage, they found at least 14 structures have been destroyed. Officials are now starting to repopulate the areas west of Las Flores Canyon to Sweetwater Mesa and west of Cerro Road to Puerco Canyon. We've noticed clear skies in the hillsides above PCH near the coast. Meanwhile, roads to the north like Corral Canyon and Carbon Canyon are open for a quarter of a mile but remain closed beyond that. The fire now 30% contained as crews continue assessing the damage. In Malibu, I'm Mario Ramirez. Back to you.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, drivers in Seattle stunned by what they saw on an electronic road sign. The message that referenced the recent murder of a healthcare industry executive and how officials say it got there. Also, skydivers set a new world record here in the West. We'll break down what they did that's so unique. Developments to tell you about tonight in a pair of high-profile murder cases in Arizona. The Phoenix woman accused of killing her 3 children has changed her plea to guilty. Rachel Henry was arrested in January of 2020 after her children were found dead inside her home. Investigators say she admitted smothering the children, then putting them on a sofa to make it look as though they were sleeping. Henry has pleaded guilty to premeditated first-degree murder for each child. Sentencing is set to happen in February of next year. A judge sentenced the man accused of killing a woman on a public transit bus in Phoenix to 40 years in prison today. Prosecutors say Joshua Bagley used straps from a bag to strangle Diane Craig back in 2022. The driver of that bus didn't notice anything was wrong until after Bagley got off. Bagley, Craig, and the driver were the only people on that bus when that crime happened. And we're covering a big development tonight in the alleged murder of the United Healthcare CEO. The FBI's New York office tells KTVU it was the San Francisco Police Department that shared the tip on the day of the shooting that helped identify Luigi Mangione as the main suspect. An SFPD investigator recognized surveillance photos of Mangione from a missing person poster. It was made by police after Mangione's mother reported him missing last month. It is still unclear if or when Mangione was ever in San Francisco. He reportedly worked for a company called TrueCar, which is based in Santa Monica, but at one point had an office in San Francisco, which is now permanently closed. Drivers in Seattle, they were shocked after an electronic road sign displayed the message, "One less CEO, many more to go." This, of course, comes after the killing of that healthcare industry executive, Brian Thompson. It appears that road sign on State Route 99 was hacked. One resident says that all of this was shocking, but also says that it shows the desperation of many people in this country.
Shocking, really, that this is where our country seems to be going. You know, I don't like at all that the dialogue in this country has gotten so violent on both sides, and that this seems to be what people think is a solution.
The Seattle Department of Transportation says the road sign is from a private construction contractor, and that message has since been removed. And you are watching West Coast Wrap tonight. There are new signs the country's bird flu outbreak is spreading here in the West. The virus has been detected in Flagstaff, Arizona wastewater. Also, 5 animals have died at a popular zoo in the Phoenix area after becoming infected. Tonight, Fox 10's Justin Lum has more from doctors about the risk to humans.
To be clear, DHS is on alert coming off this rash of cases. Officials say that the concern is not too high at this point, but it's important to remain aware yet stay calm, as majority of these cases are happening among animals across the valley.
When it comes to avian flu, illness happens to be very mild.
Reassurance from Dr. Joel Tariquez with the state's Department of Health Services. Cases started popping up in November, with birds at a poultry farm in Pinal County showing signs of illness. Another flock of poultry in Maricopa County tested positive for bird flu last month, per DHS. Last week, officials reported the first human H5 cases in Arizona. Both people were exposed to infected poultry while working at a facility in Pinal County. Officials say they had mild symptoms and have since recovered.
Human-to-human transmission has not been proven, and risk for infection is only high for those individuals that are handling ill animals without the appropriate protective equipment.
On Wednesday, Wildlife World Zoo told Fox 10 that 6 animals tested positive for the virus. 5 died, including a cheetah and mountain lion. The park says the root of the spread came from wild birds that don't live in the facility. Most recently in Coconino County, health officials say bird flu has been detected in wastewater, but there are no reports of human or animal cases right now.
So it's really at this point about worker protection, gloves, masks, that sort of thing.
Will Humble is the executive director of the Arizona Public Health Association and former director of the state's health department. He says those who work in the poultry or cattle industry need to take precaution.
So there is a chance that this could turn into a human-to-human transmission, but the likelihood is low right now as you see it.
Yeah, that's correct. The likelihood, I think, is quite low right now, but, you know, it's not impossible.
According to the CDC, there have been nearly 60 confirmed human cases of the H5 bird flu. The
the majority in California with 32 cases, followed by Washington and Colorado. The sources of exposure vary between cattle and poultry. Dr. William Carroll with IntraCare has some advice.
If you haven't gotten the flu vaccine yet, you really should get one. I was expecting a surge after Thanksgiving. I have not seen one, thank goodness. But that means that we're probably going to have our typical Arizona flu season, which is the flus usually after January.
So what's going on right now? ADHS says they work with different jurisdictions and agencies, specifically the Department of Agriculture, to keep monitoring animals that are impacted in these cases, and while officials are also providing the monitoring of humans that are interacting with these infected animals, providing medication if they are in need of it. In the control room, Justin Lum, Fox 10 News.
Well, some people in the RV industry are worried that new environmental regulations that some states are implementing are going to put them out of business. Fox's Max Gordon spoke to workers at one RV dealership in Southern California who say they are struggling to try to keep up with the new rules.
Right now, I'm at an RV dealership here in Fountain Valley, California, surrounded by motorhomes, and all of them have something in common. If you look underneath the hood, you're going to see either a gas or diesel engine. But the California Air Resources Board wants to change that with new rules regulating trucks. Currently, between 5 to 9% of 2024 model year RVs sold in California have to be zero emission. The exact percentage depends on the RV type sold by manufacturers. 2025 models are going to be increasing to 7 to 11% zero emission, and by 2035, between 55 to 75% of RVs must be zero emission. But here's the catch. Right now, according to the RV Industry Association, there aren't any zero emission RVs on the market. So right now, manufacturers have to purchase credits to be able to sell RVs here in California. So the RV Industry Association is trying to negotiate with the California Air Resources Board to find some sort of compromise, some sort of cutout for RVs.
Where things stand now, we're in active discussions with CARB, along with our manufacturer and dealer partners, because we want to identify and implement the practical solutions that ensure that consumers can continue to buy RVs, all types of RVs.
Dealers like Mike Thompson RV, where we are right now, say this is going to hurt them. They say that not only is there no demand for EV RVs, but this is also going to limit the supply of internal combustion engine RVs.
Of course it's going to affect our business. You get less RVs, you sell less RVs, the livelihood of all these people that have dedicated years and years and years to this business, it's all at risk now.
Along with California, 10 other states have also adopted these advanced clean truck rules, so this issue isn't just limited to the Golden State. In Fountain Valley, California, Max Gordon, Fox Business.
And the California Air Resources Board says recent amendments to rules allow more flexibility for RV manufacturers. The board also says the new regulations apply to only new RV sales. Used RV sales don't face the same regulations. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, it took years to plan, but only minutes to execute. Tonight, the Arizona Skydive that set a new world record. Also, even a superhero has to be rescued sometime. See how Captain America had nothing but gratitude for the Colorado Sheriff's deputies who came to his aid.
I'm so grateful to you. Oh, don't I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Don't be.
New allegations against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. 3 men have filed lawsuits saying he drugged and sexually assaulted them. An attorney says Combs used threats and fear to keep them quiet. Attorneys for Combs say the claims are, quote, baseless. This lawsuit now joins a growing list of other legal actions. Lawsuits filed by both men and women accusing the rapper of sexual assault. Combs is also facing federal sex trafficking charges in New York. Actor and rapper Will Smith is making a deliberate effort tonight to distance himself from Diddy. According to TMZ, Smith was on stage during a performance in San Diego last night when he took time out to address social media rumors and online photos showing the two stars together in years past. Even though the two stars know each other, Smith said he never went to any of Combs' notorious parties.
He said, I'm not anywhere near any freak-offs. And then at the end, he did throw a little bit of a joke and said, I don't even like baby oil. To which the audience laughed, but he said, look, I get it. I know what happens on social media. But this just went too far.
Smith has not been named in any of the numerous lawsuits filed against Combs. 96 skydivers all joined hands while they were in the air after jumping out of a plane in Arizona with the goal of trying to break a world record. Fox 10's Ellen McNamara spoke with the woman who organized this event.
We started planning it a little over 2 years ago.
A world record attempt that began 2 years ago. The Stand Together event was the idea of co-captains Amy Shimalecki and Sarah Curtis, both professional skydivers at Skydive Arizona in Eloy.
What we did was a 96-person world record. So everybody was in free fall, holding hands in an upright position.
96 jumped from 5 planes, and within 75 seconds, they were holding hands in a predetermined and difficult position, some 19,000 feet above the earth.
It takes a lot of practice. And then the logistics and getting all the people trained and selected from all around the world and kind of managing all that communication and the planes and the pilots and the oxygen, it takes a long time. We work on it a lot for a little over 2 years.
While this skydive was approved as a world record by FAI-rated judges, Amy and Sarah said that there was a bigger purpose.
The name Stand Together was not only about standing up in the sky, but it was also about bringing people together.
The 96 participants came from 21 countries.
The Stand Together was not just about the position of flying, it was also about all the people coming together to do a common goal and create a really cool project.
What a remarkable achievement. That was Fox's Ellen McNamara reporting tonight. Those skydivers, as you heard, were in a position called the heads-up position. That's when the skydivers all look straight ahead rather than looking down at the ground. Okay, finally tonight, superheroes don't break down a lot, but sometimes their wheels do, and ordinary people can lend a helping hand. A man known as the Colorado Captain was dressed up as Captain America to visit an annual charity holiday parade at a children's hospital on Wednesday, but his motorcycle broke down along the highway. That's when Douglas County Sheriff's Deputy Zach Zapeski spotted him and came to the rescue. The deputy personally paid for the tow truck to move the motorcycle somewhere safe.
I'm so grateful to you. Oh, don't. I mean this from the bottom of my heart.
Don't be. I'm just not. I can't. I don't know. If your bike got stolen, I would never forgive myself.
It is all I have left. That's pretty true. Okay.
Sound good?
Thank you so much.
No problem at all.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And Captain America continued his journey on to the Children's Hospital. When asked why he helped out, Deputy Zapeski just said, "It's Christmas time." What an incredible gesture, a wonderful moment there. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. As always, a reminder before we go, you can stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering across the West Coast at our website, westcoastwrap.com, and stream our shows on the free Fox Local app. A live look here at downtown San Francisco. Beautiful night. Have a good one.